Mouse showed the world really for the first time that comics could address the most profound of subjects, which is, of course, the Holocaust. And it was also met with a barrage of people who said that to portray, the Holocaust survivors and victims as mice was absolutely the worst expression of bad taste.
Yeah, but I backed into this. I didn't know how it was. I didn't know it was coming. It was just at some point, underground comics, which was my natural domain, were there to be transgressive, and it led to a kind of autobiographical set of comics, and that kind of inched me into doing this 13-year-long thing. And the main metaphor I had was when I was trying to draw people, it all looked fake, because I don't know what everybody looked like. I could look up a building or a gate of a concentration camp, but I couldn't know what everybody looked like, so I was looking for masks, for a way to neutralize it so that the story would take place on a relatively blank visual with the ideas filling it out. In other words, that mouse is just a little triangle. It doesn't look like a real mouse, it doesn't even look like Mickey Mouse, but it's a blank spot. And I was inspired by, there was a comic strip called Little Orphan Annie in the 1930s, and instead of eyes, they just had like poker chips for eyes, blank chips. And I realized that that was the most emotional comic strip I was reading when looking back through the history of comics, and that gave me a cue to make the faces as close to looking like Little Orphan Annie's eyes as they could, so that you would project yourself inside the image and make it work that way. And I just got there because basically, Zyklon B, that was the gas in the concentration camps, it was a pesticide. So rodents are pests, and what chases rodents? Cats. So it was a dumb metaphor that I wanted to deconstruct and destroy while telling a story that you had to believe in.